Hey, what's guys, Bryce here, and we're back at it again for another video. And in this video we have one of my best performances ever in a league race in F1 2020. Now this is a 2 SRL tier 1 race, and I was a reserve driver, so I'm not a full-time driver in this league, and I had the chance to be a reserve driver at Zandvoort, and Zandvoort is of course that track that I practiced the most for and didn't get the result I wanted in tier 1, just got super unlucky. And here we are for the next day after, and I thought this race went really good. My pace was really spot on, and I thought I made all the right choices. So this video is just going to be a little bit tad bit longer than my normal videos, just about 5 minutes over 10 minutes mark. I tried to avoid making them over 20 minutes, but here, this is my qualifying lap, my fastest lap. This was my personal best as well. This is the first time I've ever gotten a personal best in a qualifying session. And I do apologize for no game audio. I don't know what happened. I was messing around and I couldn't get the game audio to work. But yeah, that's kind of unfortunate. But for the next video, we'll definitely have that. So here's our first qualifying lap. And you can just tell by my breathing, I'm just very nervous. I think everyone usually gets nervous. But going into turn 1 here, 3rd gear, 4th gear, short shifting as much as we can. And we're already up by half a tenth here. Going to the next section of corners here, using all the curbs possible, all the track possible. 2nd gear, staying tight, bringing the car out wide, and shooting ourselves out to this little straight here. We're up by a tenth of a second. Our first lap was on the mediums, but this was our lap on the soft tires. We're in 9th place at this point in the race, in qualifying. 6th gear through that little corner here. A quick right-hander leads to another right-hander, and then we have a sweeping left-hander. So going this right-hander here, try to get as close as you can to that curb. I thought I hit that pretty well. Going to the right, then back to the left for this left-hander, short shifting, using all the track on the right as a car is going slow on the left-hand side, and another car actually crashed in front of us at the end of the lap, as you'll see here, using all the track on the left, and we're purple in the 2nd sector. Going through this corner here, being really aggressive on those curbs and just full sending it for this lap. I really wanted the maximum. 4th gear for this little tight curb here, and someone went off here, and we were super lucky that we not hit them. They ghosted, but I didn't go through it. If they would have not ghosted, I would have messed up that whole lap. And here, staying tight, and we get a 1.85, and that puts us on pole position, but that quickly gets snatched away from us, and we eventually get put in 3rd place. So but that lap itself I thought was one of my best qualifying laps. Just really put it together. I think if I wasn't on edge as much as I was, I could just tell that my body just wasn't fully relaxed. I definitely could have gotten maybe half a tenth or even a tenth quicker. But when you're nervous, you don't perform at your best when you're nervous. But it's, you know, it's pretty difficult for me to not be nervous, to be completely honest. It's pretty nerve-wracking. I don't honestly know why. I think it's the pressure, but that's something that, you know, you have to work on when you're doing a league race. And yeah, that's basically what you have to deal with. And we're on the formation lap right now. We're going to the grid. It's always good when you have to wait a little while for the rest of the cars to line up, because that means that you're at the front. If you're at the back, then you're not gonna have to wait that long because you're at the back of the grid. So yeah, as you can see, I was pretty nervous and pretty excited as well. Very exciting race for sure. Starting from P3 on the grid. So I know that my starts were good, but I didn't know if I was able to jump everyone here. But I tried my best at the start. We have the 2 Ferraris in front of me, and yeah, right now the goal is just to get a really good start. And yeah, this is really exciting. So here we go, just waiting for the rest of the grid to reform. And again, I'm trying to get as smooth, and just a really good start is really the key here, because only real opportunity to pass. So 3 red lights, 4 red lights, and 5 red lights. We're focusing super hard here, and they go out, lead fuel mode, overtake, trying to get a smooth start here, and we jump the Ferrari, and now we have a chance to almost go around the outside there if there's a bit more room. The Ferrari's on the inside of us, we leave room there, and there we go. We got into P2 just within that first corner there, and now is really where we need to try to pull a gap from the cars behind. And at this point, I just wanted to find my groove in the race. So yeah, me and Danico pulled away from everyone else within the first few laps, and I was being really conservative here. Really, I wasn't doing anything crazy. I wasn't pushing too hard, because I knew that all I needed to do was to stay in a second for lap 3, and that's when I'll be able to get the DRS. So I have tons of ERS to play with too. I'm at 95%. I barely use any, but just trying to keep my composure here, no mistakes. And for me, I feel like the most nerve-wracking part is qualifying. Once I get past qualifying in the race, I'm generally pretty relaxed, and that's what's helped me to stay really consistent. Consistency, I think, was great throughout this race, and usually is great throughout any race that I've done. That's not really an issue for me. It's just trying to get that pace there. And yeah, just using a little bit of our ERS to try to just keep that gap under a second. And yeah, right now this is, you know, pretty intense moment as he puts in the fastest lap of the race. And just trying to find my groove here and try to put in high 111s. That's kind of what the pace is for, you know, top 3 pace in tier 1 is like high 111s. That's what I was trying to aim for. Now we are on lap 7, just to show that we're pretty much in the same spot we were, but we have closed the gap just a little bit, and we've had DRS since lap 3, but you know, we haven't used much of our ERS and haven't really attacked too aggressively, but we're just trying to stay in there. And at this point, I knew that I didn't want to try to make a pass because the guys behind would catch up, so I wanted to either get him on the pit stop. So here we are on lap 12, and here's when I was going to try the undercut on him, and it actually worked out very nicely. So our tires are pretty worn at this point, the soft tires, so we're going to dive into the pits at the end of this lap and see if we can undercut him, because I wanted to pass him on the medium tires, but a safety car comes out, a virtual safety car comes out, and this slows down the grid just a little bit. If it was a bit later, I think I would have went into the pits, but again, it's just a really hit or miss with the virtual safety car because the pack is so bunched up once the virtual safety car comes out. So yeah, it did end eventually though, and this kind of, it didn't really screw up the strategy a bit, but I was gonna pit this lap, but I decided not to because there's a virtual safety car, everyone's super bunched up, so I just wanted one more lap just to get the grid nice and spread out once more. So we're just gonna wait for this virtual safety car to end. As it does end, trying to stay below that delta, no penalties, and I had no warnings during this race either, which is very good. And away we go, and we pulled just a little bit of gap from the Ferrari behind. It's a second, 1 second and a tenth at this point, so we did gain a bit of time on the virtual safety car. Next lap, lap 13, here's when we're going to go into the pits to try to get the undercut. As we're on the soft tires, we go into the pits, braking super late into the pits, and we go in at 42 miles an hour, speed limit is 50, so just under. Here's a little bit of breathing time, just a little bit of relaxation before we get back out on track. And here, for some reason, there was a little bit of a delay in the pit stop. It was, I experienced that a few times. It's 3.9 second stop. It's a pretty slow stop. But coming out the pits here, this is where we're gonna put in a really good out lap here and try to gain as much time as possible using a bit more ERS than normal. Rich fuel mode. Good thing we got in front of that Renault, or if we would have gotten put behind them, we would have lost tons of time. We have an open track here, which is exactly what we needed compared to the tier 1 race on Saturday. So here we put in 2 purple last sectors coming out of the pits. He's coming out of the pits on the right hand side, and we're wheels to wheel, and we do manage to pull out in front of him. So the undercut did successfully work, but now is when the hard part comes. We need to keep on pulling this gap so we can get out of DRS, because I was using quite high downforce for this race, so I would gain time in the corners, but on the straights he would really be able to make the gap as small as we can, as well as he could. Lap 16, and I believe this is where he did get the move done, or where he's just super close to me. As you can see, we don't have much overtake left. Rich fuel mode, we move to the middle of the track to try to defend, and he gets a fastest lap, and he moves to the outside, and he gets the move done. He locks up. If we had a little bit of more speed, we might have been able to get side by side there, but we weren't able to, and he takes that position. And I was pretty upset about that. My pace just wasn't quick enough to stay with him, but we let him go, and we just wanted to stay behind him in the DRS range, and maybe we could get him later in the race. You know, we might have been able to get him later in the race. And here there was a back marker, and he passed him here, but now I need to get past him, so I make a pretty nice move down the inside through this tight corner here. I needed to get past him as soon as I possibly could, because that would slow me down. So luckily we got past him pretty quickly in that corner right there. And yeah, that was a pretty good pass just because we got past him and we didn't want to waste any time. But now the gap's a second 0.1, and I think this in the race right here is where I screwed up just a little bit. I think I used a bit too much ERS trying to get that gap down, because then towards the end I didn't have much. You can see I have 25%. Here on lap 19, he spins out and crashes and goes into the wall, and he has crashed, and this puts us up into first place of the race, and I was super surprised by that. And now we're in P1, and basically first laps ever led in a league race. I think I might have led, you know, laps under pit stops, but first legit lead here. So Danny goes out of the question now. He's crashed, and I don't know where he's gone at all. And now we have Copy behind us in the Williams. Very quick, consistent, and fast driver. So we need to be able to stay out of this DRS range, but he's managed to basically go from 2 seconds to half a second. So this is not good at all. we have just about 7 laps left, and we need to defend this position or we will not win this race. Lap 29, and he is super close to us, and we need to defend this as best we can, but we have no ERS. We have 14 ERS. That's nothing compared to what he's probably been saving up for last couple of laps. We move to the inside, he moves to the outside, so much more speed, and there's nothing we can do. He gets the move done, he locks up, but still there's just nothing we can do to get that place back, unfortunately, and he takes the lead. But now we have 6 laps left to try to make the move done, but it's just so weird on this track. Once you get below around 25 ERS, it won't go back up. Like, I didn't use any ERS, maybe I dabbed it just a few times, but from lap 30 to 36 I couldn't get above 30%. So it was just really rough at this point in the race, and we're under fuel, so we at some point we're gonna need to conserve our fuel, but we're not. He hasn't pulled away just exactly yet. He's still within the half-second range, and I haven't made any mistakes. His pace was just quicker than mine, and that's fair, and respect to him for that. So now we just need to try to stay as close as we can to him, and no warnings, no penalties, so that's something really good as well, even though it's kind of difficult to get a penalty on this track unless you're really pushing super hard, which I was doing here, but I still didn't get I think I had 1 warning actually. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, this is a pretty intense moment here. Going into the last lap of the race, still no ERS saved. Our tires are pretty worn. We have 0.05 laps of fuel left over, so we don't have much to play with. And going into turn 1, braking super late and just trying to keep it super tight here, and here we want to save as much ERS as we can so we can deploy at some point during the track. During this lap here, last lap of the race, we need to do everything we can. We're super close in the carousel section. I have a lot of downforce, so I'm able to keep up with him, but once the straight comes, you can see he pulls away. I think if I use a bit less downforce, it could have been better, but he's just pulled away so much on the straight here. 6th gear, it's keeping it very tight here. No mistakes going through there. Going to the double right-hander, braking, turning in just the right time, and we're so close here. And I think my first mistake on this corner came right here when I went just a little bit too wide, and that cost on the exit because the tires are pretty old. I couldn't just keep the speed up, and now we're deploying all of our ERS, but there's none left, so you know, we're pretty much a sitting duck right here in this position. We're not going to get past unless he makes a rare mistake in the last corner, so we're trying to keep up with him. Rich fuel mode, but going to the last corner here, keeping it tight. We're so close there, but he pulls away on the straight and we're not able to pass him. So on the straight here we have DRS, but again, not enough laps left in the race, and that will be the end of the Zandvoort race. But P2, my best result ever in the league race, so I'll take that. Pretty happy with that. I worked pretty hard this week to try and get this result, and I got P2, so that's not bad. I think things to work on is probably the strategy could have been just a little bit better. Maybe if I would have pit later, I'm not exactly sure. I have to really analyze this race, see what I could have done better. Maybe the setup could have been changed a bit so I didn't get past so easily on the straight. But anyway, that's gonna wrap this video. If you guys did enjoy, leave a like down below. Yeah, it seems like a pretty bright future for league racing for me, because my results have been getting slowly better once I kind of figure out the formula that you need to really finish in the top 5. So hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, leave a like down below, and I'll see you in the next video, guys. Bye bye.